The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to the Star Sport podcast. This week we are speaking to O'Donovan Rossa's Laura O'Mahony following Skibb's brilliant Munster Junior Championship win at the weekend, and we also have Newcestown's Luke Meade on to chat about completing the Senior A double following their win over West Cork rivals Donnies in the football last Saturday evening. I'm your host Dylan Mangan, and I'm joined today by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. The Star Sport podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose credit union, choose local, choose community. Now, Kieran, we'll get to those two great interviews in a little while, but we want to start off just by giving a quick plug to a charity match that's happening this weekend. It's a battle of West versus East in Clough on Sunday.
Yeah, Clodove Sunday, 3 p.m. It's the West Cork ladies football team against East Cork. So this is it's a charity match with all the proceeds going to Marymount Hospice. So it's for a really, really good cause, and it's also a chance to see some really good footballers in action too, Dylan. The West Cork team there, they're likely to have Melissa Duggan, a former All-Star with the Cork footballers, one of the stalwarts of the Cork team at the moment. Emma Spillane from Bantry Blues is set to line out. So you have really talented players from West Cork. And like I said, it's for Marymount Hospice. It's for a really, really good cause. So there's no entry fee at the gates on Sunday, but there will be donation buckets located all around the GA grounds, and the organisers are hoping that the public will dig deep and support this great cause. So this idea only came to supposed to be born or started just last month at the West Cork LGFA Awards night. And John McCarthy, the West Cork chairperson, he invited John McAsee as the county board representative down to the Celtic Ross Hotel, which hosted the West Cork LGFA Awards, and they got talking, and the idea of the charity match between the two divisions, West versus East, came up, and this has happened really, really quickly. So it's just, I just think it's worth mentioning that if anyone's around on Sunday to head over to Clodove, like I said, you're going to see a good football game between West Cork and East Cork, but more importantly, we're going to raise some funds for a really good for Marymount Hospice, which like anyone in Cork will know that it's the work that they do in Marymount is much needed. So anything that we can all do to help, I think, is important.
Yeah, the work Marymount do is brilliant, and like Kieran said there's no entry fee. There'll be donation buckets around the ground, and I think throw in there is at 3 p.m. So aim for then maybe a little bit earlier, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd out there. Now, Kieran, in this week's Southern Star, we obviously have a lot of GAA, and it's great for us that there is so much GAA, so much football still going on this late in the year. And one team, obviously, we've been covering a lot this year have been Castlehaven. They dug deep in a war of attrition at the weekend to advance to the Munster Club semi-final, beating Clare champions Cratloe after extra time by 112 to 11 points. A goal there from Robbie Minahan in the first half of extra time is the big difference. But considering, I guess, it wasn't the prettiest performance, but they got the result, and considering the huge effort that went into winning the county title, this week was probably all about the result, wasn't it?
I think so. I think obviously winning the county title for Castlehaven, that was the goal at the start of the season, and obviously there were celebrations after that, and so there should be. So to knuckle down again and head into the Munster series, it can be quite tricky, especially that first hurdle. You know, it wouldn't be a huge shock to fall that first hurdle coming off the back of a big county win. You only have to look, I suppose, at a more local level. The Barry Road junior footballers, when they won the Carbery Junior A for the first time, great celebrations. Then the week after, they're out in the county series and they lost to Castlehaven, a game that most would have expected them to win. So you can get caught, for want of a better word, but Haven found a way to win last Sunday in Páirc Uí Chaoímh. I suppose to mention first, this game was meant to be in Castlehaven, and the club are really looking forward to hosting the game down there. But what happened on Friday, the Munster Council decided to switch the game to Páirc Uí Chaoímh for two reasons. The weather for West Cork on Saturday evening into Sunday morning, the forecast wasn't great, and then it was the condition of the pitch in Haven as well. So it's such a shame for Castlehaven, because that would have been some spectacle down there. It would have been some occasion for the club. You would have packed the ground. Everyone would have come locally to watch Haven in a home Munster Club Championship game. As it was moved to Páirc Uí Chaoímh, and Haven still got the job done, and that's what matters here. They're advancing now to the Munster semi-final, which is Sunday week. They're going to have to travel to Waterford to take on the Waterford champions, Rathgarmach. So that's going to be another tricky tie. But Haven will benefit from getting through a game like this. Like you said, Dylan, it went to extra time. Haven were forced to dig deep, but it's a good sign that they got over the line. And in Thursday Southern Star, Brian Hurley talks about how the young guns are stepping up and how they're kind of easing the pressure on the more established, the more experienced players. And you can see that in the likes of Robbie Minahan coming on there and getting a crucial goal. So job done, and the Castlehaven train moves on.
Yeah, job done. And you mentioned there that the game was originally meant to be on in Haven, of course. And I saw a lot of people saying that when it was moved to Páirc Uí Chaoímh, that could have been a bit of a leveler. So again, the fact that they got through after extra time is great. And I saw Castlehaven sharing there's a fan bus going down to Dungarvan as well. So anyone who wants a seat on that should get on to Eddie or Tina in Lills before Sunday week, I guess. So we'll get a packed bus going down to Dungarvan, and hopefully they get a good result down there as well. Another team who won at the weekend, Kieran, and we're speaking to a member of that team, Laura O'Mahony, in just a moment. But that was O'Donovan Rossa. The history-making Skibb ladies captured the club's first provincial LGFA crown with a victory over Kerry champs Clounmacon Moyvane. They beat them by 12 points to 1-7 in Mallow. And Kieran, it was an exciting game. But I guess, can you sum up just how big a moment this is for them?
Huge, absolutely huge for the O'Donovan Rossa ladies football team. And it's very apt that they've won a Munster title, and it's falling on the year that the club celebrated the 30th anniversary of the men's All-Ireland senior win back in 1993. So the Skibb ladies team, the Skibb ladies club, it's only on the go, I'd say 13 or 14 years, if that, at this stage. And this was their first time venturing into the Munster Championship. So to win the county junior A title this year, that was the main target, because Skibb had lost the final back in 2022. So they regrouped and they won all their 6 games in the championship to get to where they wanted to be, which was Cork Junior A football champions and promotion up to intermediate for 2024. But by winning the county, it opened the door into Munster. And what's rare is wonderful, and what's new is exciting. And it's definitely been that for O'Donovan Rossa. They've had a couple of away games in the quarterfinal and the semi-final, and it all led to Mallow last Saturday when they took on Clounmacon Moyvane of Kerry in the Munster final. And I was talking to James O'Donovan, the Skibb manager, for a preview last week, and he was making the point that the two teams that Skibb beat in the quarter and semi were, I suppose, a camogie first club, whereas they on last weekend they were taking on a football team, and a Kerry football team at that, in Clounmacon Moyvane. So it was always going to be a test for O'Donovan Rossa, but to their credit, they passed it. And they passed it with room to improve. And we'll hear from Laura O'Mahony quite soon, and she'll make that point. So it's quite a good place for Skibb to be right now. Munster champions didn't play as well as they could last weekend, but got the job done. And what this one has done now, it's opened the door up to the All-Ireland series and a quarter-final that's coming up in Glasgow the weekend after next. So these are exciting times for the O'Donovan Rossa ladies, and a huge, huge win for this team. They're now county champions, they're now Munster champions, and that's a brilliant season so far, but they're not finished yet, Dylan.
Yeah, and just before we go to Laura, I think it's the really exciting thing Obviously, it was a brilliant win at the weekend, but in this Thursday's Southern Star, manager James O'Donovan points out that it's a good sign of a team that can win a Munster final while playing below their best. And now they can go into that All-Ireland series, I think, with a big pep in their step as well.
100%, because they know there's room for improvement. I think it was 14 or 15 wides they kicked the last day. So straight away there, like that's one area where Skibb will look to improve for the trip to Glasgow on the weekend after next. So they know they can play better. But this is a team that's improving all the time. And it's like, so, okay, Laura Mahon, I'm going to talk to her now. Laura is their Cork star. She's been in the Cork senior football team for the last number of years. But you have young players like young Ava O'Donovan, who was top scorer again last weekend. She got 6 points, 3 from play. You Christine Fitzgerald, the goalkeeper, who was a hero as well. She made a huge save in the 51st minute with only 2 points between the teams. So what we're seeing is different players stepping up all over the field. And worth pointing out too, Dylan, that Skibb got a goal that wasn't, and Kate O'Connell in, I think it was the 41st minute, scored a goal for O'Donovan Rossa, but for some reason it didn't get the green flag. It actually came back off the back stanchion of the goal and came back into play. But between the referee and the umpires and I don't know, could I say the Lions people as well, the goal wasn't given. But we have proof in Thursday Southern Star. It's a categorical proof that it actually was a goal. Our photographer there, Martin Walsh, got a picture of the ball hitting the back stanchion. So anyone reading the Star on Thursday, just go to the back page and look at Kate O'Connell's goal. That never was. And it's just a good thing, Dylan, that this wasn't a talking point at the end of the game. If Skibb ended up losing this game by a point or two and have had a legitimate goal ruled out, it wouldn't have. I don't know, like, can we get VAR over the GA? Is it too late this season? Well, I suppose given the trouble that VAR has across England, maybe not. But that's well worth checking out. It's a great picture by Martin Walsh. But the big takeaway is that O'Donovan Rossa march on. And like I said, they're going to Glasgow the weekend after next. They're playing Glasgow Gaels in the All-Ireland quarter-final. So they're going to fly out on the Friday. The game is a Saturday morning. I think it's a 11:30 throw-in, which is quite early. And they're going to fly back that evening. And if it's a big if Skibb can get through that, it's a home All-Ireland semi-final. And what an occasion that will be in Skibbereen.
Absolutely. And as well, just like 1 point there on VAR, I want to say, let's keep it away from the GAA. We'll never bring it into GAA, please. It's painful enough as it is with it in the soccer. But enough of that. We didn't ask Laura about that, but we can hear from her now about her thoughts on their brilliant win at the weekend.
Laura, we had a Q&A in last week's Southern Star when we asked you to pick your highlights so far, and you plumped for Skibb's County Junior A football final win. So I'm going to ask you, do you want to revise it now after winning the Munster title last weekend?
Yeah, definitely, Kieran. Honestly, I haven't felt a feeling like that in a long time. It was incredible. I think winning with your club makes it just that bit more special as well, with the girls that you've started playing football with. And it was touch and go for a while, but when that final whistle went, we were honestly all just so buzzing.
How much have you enjoyed this season with Skibb?
I think it's been one of the best seasons I've ever had with them, to be honest. Like, I've won minor E, West Corks with them, and even like Junior B, Junior C. But I think, like, we haven't won the league. We hadn't won the West Cork Championship this year, but I think it's not even about the winning. It's the way our team has bonded this year. I feel like we're a lot closer, and that makes it all the more special when we're playing together then. And then it's a bonus then, obviously, winning.
Obviously, we're going to chat about the Munster final win the weekend, but almost take me back 12 months ago, lost the county final to Neva Bawn. And did you use that almost as a, kind of use that hurt after that disappointment to almost fuel what you've done this year, because you got so close to the prize you wanted, came up just short, but then you've seen what you've done this year, which has been incredible.
Yeah, I think last year, even in the dressing room afterwards, we all weren't happy with the final result. Like, don't get me wrong, Neva Bawn were the much better side on the day, and it was their day on the day. But I think for what we wanted to achieve last year, we wanted to get out of Junior A. So I think it was a negotiable thing this year that we had to go out and win it. And I think the fact that we did, and we did it the way we did it, I think we're very happy with where we're going.
Then obviously to win the county junior A title was a huge moment. So when you won that, you knew that you had the prize that you wanted, like that was the goal at the start of the season. But there was the added bonus then of going into the Munster series. So how did you approach that then, Laura? Was it thinking, okay, this is bonus territory, we'll just see how far we'll go? Or are you thinking as a group, no, we'll really give this a really good shot and see how far we really can go?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like, you never want to look past one game at a time. And like I said, the goal was always winning the junior A county, especially after last year. But don't get me wrong, it's always in the back of our minds, like, where could it go? Where could we go? And I think winning the Munster was just, I think winning the county was something we felt we needed to achieve. And winning the Munster was something that we wanted to achieve. Like, it wasn't our main goal at the start of the year, but honestly, winning it meant so much.
And you are history makers too. You're the first Rossa ladies team ever to play in Munster, and you've had a couple of really good away days, and it all led to Mallow last Saturday against Clounmacon, Moyvane at Kerry's side. So talk me through what it was like to build up to the week, to build up to the Munster final.
Yeah, I think we took it like any other week. We do training on Wednesdays when the matches are on the Saturdays, because we have girls up in Cork travelling down, and I think we just took it like any normal week. We trained on the Wednesday night and took it handy enough, just went through the basics. I think James really wants us to try not to be as nervous. It's just another game. I know there was a massive build up behind it around the club and in the town and things, and we're so grateful to all the businesses and everyone that's gotten behind us with all the flags in support. But I think behind all that, we kind of had to put that aside on the day and just block out the outside and just say it's another game. And I think that's what we did. I think there was definitely nerves there at the beginning, don't get me wrong, and they did continue throughout the game, but we got over the line, and that's the main thing.
What are your main memories from the game itself? Because it was quite tight. You were on top at the start, but then the Kerry team got back. They were leading by a point at half time, so that set up a kind of a tight second half then. So looking back on the game, what stands out to you?
I think probably just all our wides, nearly, we got 15 wides on the day, and usually if you get 15 wides, you don't come out the better of the two. So I think what stands out to me was the fight and the spirit that our team had. Like, from 1 to 30, no one gave up on the day, no matter when things weren't going our way. We got a goal and it wasn't given. We got 15 wides, like I said, but like, things went wrong for both sides on the day. So I think it was just the fight and the determination that we had. We won it through our heart and things, not by scoring loads of points on the day.
And loads of heroes all over the field. I know Ava Donovan's been hitting the headlines for her point scoring, but I want to talk about Christine Fitzgerald for a second. 10 minutes to go. I think it was 1-7 to 9 points. They had a chance and she made a brilliant point blank save. Like, you need big players to step up in the big moments, and that's what Christine did.
Oh, fair play to her. Yeah, she's been savage for us all year, and I think she's really grown confidence in her goalkeeping, and it's showing in her playing. She's playing super. Her kickouts, I don't think we lost many of them, if we lost any at all of our own. So I think that's one thing that we've been improving on, and Christine herself. And I, like you said, if they had got that goal, I think it would have been a lot different. The atmosphere would have turned. But seeing someone make a block down like that, it drives everyone on. And I think we went up and we kept trying, even though we were getting our wides, and eventually we got there.
And you mentioned Kate O'Connell's goal that never was, and it was a goal. We actually have a picture in Thursday Southern Star which shows that it 100% was a goal. When a decision like that goes against you on the field, how important is it just to put it to the back of your mind and just keep playing the game?
Definitely, because the linesman brought the ref back or whatever, and I think he still decided, look, we'll play on now. But I think all of us, the girls, just wanted to say we can't lose on this basis. We can't lose and everyone be talking about, oh, but we got a goal, we should have won. That's not what our mentality was. We needed to win by more so that we did win it, regardless if that goal was counted or not. And I think that's what drove us on. Seeing that it wasn't allowed, I think it brought us a lot closer, and we all drove on together, and that's how we got over the line, I think. Even the crowd got behind us as well.
Sorry, Laura, you mentioned the 15 wides as well. That tells me straight away that that there's room for improvement for the next game.
Definitely, yeah. Look, we are always looking for something to improve on every game. Even if you feel like you've had one of your best games all season, there's still going to be something that you have to improve on for the next day. I think you have to take the positive from it as well. And like, we were making the chances and creating the chances, and we had a lot of possession. So we have to look at that. But I think we just need to settle down in front of goal and things, myself included.
And when that final whistle went in Mallow and there was a huge Skibb support there, what was that moment like? Obviously to celebrate with the team, but even to have family and friends and all those supporters there as well.
Honestly, it was surreal. Like, it just means so much to all the club. Like, even our family, our friends, there's people there that have witnessed when 30 years ago when the seniors won their All-Ireland as well. So I think it even meant a lot to them too. So it's just lovely that we're all behind each other that kind of way, and we'll keep pushing on now for that reason.
And the adventure is not over yet. You're going to head off on the plane there the weekend after next, away to Glasgow Gaels in Glasgow. If we thought kind of venturing through Munster was a bit of a novelty, when you all get on the plane to go across to Glasgow, but how much are you looking forward to this, to kind of take this even further again?
Yeah, honestly, it'll be amazing. Like, I think it only happens every so often that Munster get to go across and play. And now that we're playing Glasgow, it'll be very good. I think getting on a plane and everything, there'll be huge excitement. But just like James always says, we need to get the job done when we're over there, and we can think about the memory of it after as well.
But even for the team itself, Laura, like, you'll obviously have a night or two away together over in Glasgow. Like, this should bring you even closer together again.
Exactly, yeah. We're going over on the Friday and we're staying the night, and then we're home again the Saturday. So having that night together, even just the traveling together, it gives us that time to have downtime together and talk and ask how's your week been or whatever, you know, that kind of way. It's nice that we get the time together, and we'll have the day before talking about non-football things, and then the next day we'll have the football business on.
And when you consider the first game of the Cork Junior A campaign way back when in the summer, and where you are now, and how much it's taken for you to get to this point into the All-Ireland series, like, I know it's a no-brainer of a question, but like, it's a couple of games away now. Like, is that the goal now, try and win this All-Ireland?
Yeah, like I said earlier, we're trying to really take it one game at a time, and that's been the focus for the whole year, no matter if it was the group stages in the county or if it was the semi-final of the Munster. I think we always want to just get over one game at a time, and we're focusing on ourselves a lot as well. But obviously, I have no doubt that it's in the back of everyone's mind. It's definitely in the back of mine that there is a chance that it could be done. So that drives us on as well. I think in our individual games, we want to get there.
And finally, what's the plan this week? When did you get back in training? And what was that like to get back together again after the celebrations and get back out in the football field again?
Yeah, we're back training now tomorrow evening, Wednesday night. So we'll regroup, refocus. Obviously, I'd say we'll have to get a bit into shape now again, but that won't be long coming around.
Enjoy these moments now. They don't come around too often. So congrats on your success and best of luck in the weeks ahead.
Thanks very much, Kieran.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Now, welcome back to the Star Sport podcast. And Kieran, last weekend or last Saturday evening, you were at Páirc Uí Chaoímh to witness Newcestown winning against Donnies by 13 points to 8 in the Senior A football final, completing the double after they beat Blarney in the Senior A hurling replay a couple of weeks ago as well. And I guess, is it possible to sum up how big an achievement this is for them?
Just remarkable. It really is. What a club Newcestown are. What a bunch of players to go and win 2 county Senior A titles in the one season and the 2 finals in the space of 2 weeks. They're now Senior A hurling and football champions in Cork, and it's just a remarkable success story. They've played 13 championship games this season, and to come out the top in both codes, it's just a testament to that group of players, to the management teams who've organised it, to all the supporting staff who've laid the platform for the players to go and do what they do, and just for the club in general. So huge feat for the club. And I suppose the big reward now, Dylan, is next season they're going to play Premier Senior level in both footballing and hurling, and that will be a test for Newcestown, and it's probably a conversation for a different day, because right now it's about celebrating success, and it's about this group of Newcestown players basking in the glory of what they've achieved over the last couple of weeks. And I think that's really important that they do celebrate the success, because I think it was Tyke Toomey was saying it to me after, it could have been David Buckley's, and you kind of, to win one county title in a season is brilliant. To win 2 county titles is the stuff of dreams. And like Newcestown had to wait 8 years to get back into county final since they were there in 2015. So this is one to celebrate. And by all accounts, Dylan, they have been celebrating in Newcestown, and like I said, well, they should.
Yeah, absolutely. And Holly O'Sullivan makes a good point that we didn't really speak about in the build-up to the game. In this week's Star, he writes about the victory, but he just kind of reminds us that in 2022, Newcestown won 1 game in the Senior A Hurling Championship, and they were relegated at the hands of Éire Óg in the Premier Senior football as well. So like to kind of have those 2 difficult campaigns in both codes, and then to come back in both codes and win both Senior A titles is incredible. And especially for as we said before, like a rural club that it is a small enough club, but what they achieve, like they're overachieving the whole time as well.
Yeah, like I said, it's a remarkable achievement, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it's a testament to these players. But it also shows that winning can breed success. Like, they had momentum behind them coming into this final. They had that winning feeling. Like I said, they played 13 championship games between both codes this year. This was their 13th championship game on Saturday night, so they were on a roll. I was looking at the fixtures. Donnies had played 1 game in 9 weeks since their final group game in the championship. I think that was against Island Rovers. They got a bye straight to the semi-final. They beat Knockdegree there and were really impressive. But since then, they had to wait 5 weeks for the county final. In the same time, since Newcestown played their final football group game, they played 6 championship games between football and hurling. So it just shows that okay, it was tough on the Newcestown players because they were going almost week in, week out, hurling football, swapping back and forth, and that is testing. But they had that winning momentum. As well as that, they had self-belief in themselves, but they also had match fitness. They were at it, and you'd have to say that Donnies were caught when it came to that on Saturday night. And this is the kind of the galling thing for Donnies. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault that the Senior A final was pushed back. That was a decision made because of what was happening in the hurling with the drawn final and so on. So Donnies were having to wait and wait and wait, and to go 5 weeks without a competitive championship game and go straight into county final, it's a tough ask. They started really, really well. They won 5 points to 1 up inside the first quarter. And I was in the press box thinking, okay, Jesus, they've made light. They're not as rusty as I thought they would be. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It was Newcestown who were looking lethargic and a bit leggy. But the more the game went on, the more Newcestown's match fitness told. And you could see in the second half that they had that match fitness while Donnies didn't. And that was very telling as well. So it's just unfortunate for Donnies that just the way that the GA calendar almost worked against them in the last couple of weeks, but that shouldn't take away from what was a really good Newcestown performance. And like I write about it in this Thursday's Southern Star, it was a David Buckley final as well, Dylan. 9 points, can't do much better than that, can you?
No, it's incredible. Like he's 22 years old as well, so he's still young and he's a lot of time ahead of him. But to score 9 points, like more than the Donnies could manage, is incredible. And I guess just a word on Donnies there as well, because we did say beforehand that they might kind of, I mentioned in the podcast last week that they'd be like a greyhound kind of waiting for the trap. And they did, like you say, come out the traps really well. But do you think it was mainly the Newcestown's match fitness that was the winning of the game? Or sometimes a player like David Buckley just comes along and you can't do anything about it?
I think there are a couple of reasons. Like I said earlier, I think Newcestown definitely were sharper, and they had that match sharpness off the back of all their championship games in recent weeks, while Donnies didn't. You're right, Newcestown had David Buckley as well. He was on fire on Saturday night. He scored 9 points in total, 6 were from play. He kicked 7 points alone in the second half. Newcestown scored 8 points in the second half. He scored 7 of them. Like, he was just wherever he kicked from on Saturday night, it was going over the bar. And David Buckley is a football talent. And actually, when you stand beside him, he's a big, strong, tall young fella as well. Like he's a big unit. He's a hard fella to get off the ball. If he wins the ball, he's a hard man to knock off the ball, and he can score as well. We saw it a couple of years ago. He got 10 points for Cork under-20s when they won the Munster under-20 football final back in 2021. So he's a man used to putting up big scores in big games. But I think last Saturday night is a bit different because he did it for his local club in a county final that meant a lot, and against a local rival in Downey. So this is one that David Buckley will he can dine out for on years and years to come. But I think another reason why Newcestown won this as well, their game plan, because going into this game, Downey's full forward line, you'd Fionn Hurley, Mark Buckley and Keith White, 3 really, really good footballers. They tormented Knockdegree in the semi-final. I think it was that Fionn Hurley got 8 points that day alone, but Fionn Hurley didn't score all the last day. Mark Buckley didn't score, Mark was taken off. Keith White started really well. He got 2 quick points, and then he got another point at the end of the first half, but he finished with 3 points and he got no score in the second half. So Newcestown did really well to blunt that very dangerous Downey's full forward line. And that was one of their targets going in. When these two teams met in the first round of the county championship back in the summer, Downey's won that game 9 points to 8. So Newcestown figured, okay, if we could hold Downey's to around that 9-point mark again, they were confident in their ability to score more than that. And that's exactly what happened. They actually kept Downey's to 8 points, which is remarkable from the Newcestown defence. So when you talk about David Buckley getting man of the match, yeah, he deserved it 100%. But look at the work back the field. Look at the Mihal McSweeney, Trevor Horgan, James Kelleher, Gerardo Donovan, Keane Toomey, Captain Luke Meade. That was the two defence, the full back line and the half back line for Newcestown the last night. Like, they did an incredible job. And once Newcestown started winning around the middle of the field, which they did, they grabbed control there. During the second half, to be honest, I'm not saying we knew the result from a long way out, but you just knew Newcestown were in control. You knew that Downey's needed a goal out of somewhere, but they never looked like getting it because their attack was just being smothered by Newcestown. And I think we saw the experience of the Newcestown team in the second half. They had the class and guile of the likes of David Buckley up front, but they had the smarts to know how to win the game and how to close it out. And they had so many experienced players in their ranks as well. So they were really worthy winners by the end.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the game plan there. Just a word as well on Tim Buckley. He'll be stepping away after this year. It's a great quote from him in this week's Southern Star. He says he's 2 years now in charge of this team. I brought them down and I've helped bring them back up again. So I've made no progress, but at least we have a cup to celebrate with it at the end of it all. Which is, I guess, a funny way maybe of looking at it after you've won, but that's probably why he's a manager and I'm not. But how much will this victory and the fact that they will have a new man in charge next year, how much will that affect them going into next year, or will they even be thinking about that now?
I'd say right now it's about filling that cup as many times as they can this week, Dylan, just to prolong the celebrations. So like you said there, Tim Buckley, he's decided to step away after 2 seasons in charge, and he's gone out in a high. Like, he's after leading Newcestown to a county senior A football title. So what a way to bow out. And his son David Dinn being man of the match. Like, what an occasion it was for the Buckley family on Saturday night. So yeah, Newcestown will have to find a new manager. But what an exciting role that's going to be for whoever takes that, because they're going to inherit a really talented group of footballers. And we've spoken before about that Newcestown spirit, the fight in that Newcestown club where they just never lie down. We've also said about how there's a lot of really good footballers and hurlers there too. And up in the Premier Senior ranks next year, no one's going to fancy playing against Newcestown because you know you're in for a game. So it's going to be quite an appealing job for whoever gets it. So I'm not sure when the search will start. Probably when the celebrations die down, which could be a couple of weeks yet.
Yeah, a man who might have a word in that search is the captain, Luke Meade. We're going to hear from him now. But Kieran, before we do, we've kind of mentioned maybe once or twice before in the podcast the quirk that the inter-county hurler Luke Meade is the captain of the footballers and not the hurlers. But he was the man who got his hands on the trophy at the weekend. And for Newcestown, even though he is he's obviously a huge figure in the club. Like we've spoken to him on the podcast before, and he's a huge figure not only in the club but in the community as well. And the fact that he is playing inter-county hurling probably helps them on the football field as well, even though it is a different code.
Yeah, Luke he's a fantastic ambassador for Newcestown, and he even stretch that further. He's a fantastic ambassador for Carberry. He's our only senior inter-county hurler for Cork, and he's been at that for a good few years now, and he's flying that West Cork flag on the highest stage when it comes to hurling. So to see him juggle hurling and football at club level, it's no surprise when you consider how many dual players Newcestown have, but it's just what an honour for him, what an honour for Luke to lift the Kevin McTiernan Cup on Saturday night, and you could see how much it meant to him. Like I was saying earlier, we talk about it being the David Buckley final, but Luke Meade is the man who captained Newcestown to the County Senior A football title in 2023, and that will forever be attached to him. You know, you could never take that away from him, and I just think that's a great honour for such a club stalwart like Luke Meade, who's given so much to Newcestown over the years, and he's still a young man, so he's so much to give to them as well going forward. But there was actually a lovely moment after the final whistle on Saturday night, Dylan. I was outside the dressing room. You could hear the Newcestown celebrations inside, and a man from Newcestown came up to me and he said that there was a founding member of the club. He was just down. He was kind of waiting. If you think of Páirc Uí Chaoímh, there's a gap between the city end and the south stand, and he was waiting there with some family members. So Luke Meade and James Kelleher walked down to meet him. They brought the cup, and that man is Dan Cahalane. And he was on that first committee when Newcestown was formed back in 1958, I think 65 years ago. And Dan is one of the few surviving members of the original committee for Newcestown GA. So to see Luke Meade and James Kelleher meet Dan Cahalane, and for Dan to hold the cup, and to see the smile it brought to his face, considering the role that he played to get this club off the ground 65 years ago, I thought it was a really, really nice moment. And what we had there with Newcestown past and present coming together and all celebrating a huge success for the club. So I just thought it was a really lovely and touching moment, and one of the many highlights, I think, for Luke Meade over a very memorable weekend. Luke, we were chatting on the pitch after the game on Saturday night, and it's almost one of the hardest parts of a sports journalist, trying to ask questions to a player in the minutes after a game like that, because you're still trying to process it yourself. And I remember asking you, has it sunk in? And obviously it hadn't, because it had just happened. So we're now a few days on from it. Have you had a chance over the last couple of days to let the magnitude of last Saturday night sink in?
Kind of, I suppose. Look, it still probably hasn't sunken in really, the kind of achievements that we've had, but just the game itself, really, just, I suppose we're just delighted like that we were able to get over the line after, it was a long year for us. We set out to start the year hopefully to win either, then we didn't really focus on hurling or football, but we were just delighted, really. We got over the line, really. That's kind of overriding emotion, really.
When you think back 12 months ago, Newcestown relegated from Premier Senior, when you were setting out this season, what was the target? Was it one game at a time? Was it, lads, we need to get back up there as fast as we can, considering how competitive the Senior A is?
To be honest, it was one game at a time, really, because in the hurling we were playing Blarney in the first game, and obviously, sure, look, we've met them plenty of times after it, but we knew even beforehand what a good team they were, and if we lost the first game in the hurling, we would have been under pressure for the next games, because Ballyhea are a good team. They got to semi-final last year, Coursies got to the final, so we knew just if we didn't win the first game, we'd be under severe pressure in the hurling, and then same in the football, and we lost to Donny's the first day in the football, and it did put us under a bit of pressure then. We kind of scraped past Island Rovers then in the second game in the football, which wasn't ideal really for us, but that was kind of the focus all year, just to get over game by game, because I don't think, obviously we didn't hammer anyone, or we didn't beat anyone too well or anything like that, because the grade is so even and the competition is so good, that we couldn't be getting carried away and saying, well, look, we'll be fine for that game or anything like that. We were just going game on game because, you know, like permutations and things like that, like it might have come down to the wire in any day. So you kind of have to be at it every day, really. Like, yeah.
And obviously, you took it game by game, and as the season kind of wound up to the crescendo, you were going further and further in both competitions. Then obviously won the hurling two weeks ago. So after the hurling, how easy was it to almost refocus the mind and concentrate totally on the football, considering that hurling had been a dominant code for you for the few weeks previous?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, and I suppose that was kind of a lucky thing during the whole year. We couldn't really dwell on any win too much because you just always had to get back into championship mode again and get back to work again for training the next day. Like, even after the Newmarket game in the football, like, you couldn't sit back and be watching that for a couple of days because, you know, you only had the week or two, whatever, before the hurling final again. And same with the football. Then after the hurling, we had a couple of days or whatever. And look, we had to focus straight away because, like, we hadn't played football in a few weeks. Like, we hadn't trained really. So we had to figure out the plan, and we had to figure out what we were going to do and things like that. So we had to focus straight away. So it was a help, really, in a way. Like, yeah.
Was there much talk about the potential double in the 2 weeks before the game? You had the hurling title won. That medal was in the back pocket. He knew you were on for a very unique and remarkable county senior A double. Like, as a group, did you address the fact that you were one win away from a double?
To be honest, not really, no. Like, even before the hurling, we didn't even call it the county final, really. We were just calling it the Blarney game because, like, that's who we were going to have to beat to win. Similar then with the football, really. Like, sure, we all obviously knew about the double and that, how good it would be if we won the two of them. Like, but, like, it was Donnies we were playing, really. Like, you know, that's the game of football we were about to play. So we just had to focus on Donnies and focus on ourselves, really, then, to try and get over the line. But look, obviously, maybe between ourselves and stuff, we'd be on about the double and that, you know, how good it'd be and stuff, but not really talked about, really, no.
14 minutes into last Saturday night, so Donnies were leading 5 points to 1. They were moving quite well. How's it going through your head?
Yeah, they went up 5-1 then. Yeah, going through my head. To be honest, I didn't panic too much, really. Like, there was a bit of colourful language, right, around the place when they went 5-1 up. Won't lie, but to be honest, we didn't actually panic too much. We just had to win the next kick out. We were couldn't get out there for a few minutes at the start. They kind of had us pinned in. But to be honest, we didn't really panic too much. Like, I suppose at the end of the day, it had been a long time since we actually played a game of football. So we were bound to be some way rusty, but I knew the players that we had in the team, like that. You know, that's not what it was going to be like for the rest of the game. We just kind of had to get our hands on the ball and maybe get up the field once or twice or get a score or something just to kill the momentum. And thankfully, we got a couple of vital scores in the first half, which kept us in touch, like, because there was a bit of a strong wind in the first half. And like, if we didn't get those points, we would have been in trouble. But thankfully, the boys kicked a couple of important scores in the first half to keep us in touch.
This is your chance now to give your brother Jack a good few compliments. He got 2 of those points. So how important were Jack's scores in those couple of minutes?
Yeah, they were important. Like, a couple of good scores, and Bucks, I think, got a couple as well. Not sure about anyone else, but every score we got really in the first half was important because, as I said, that wind was strong. You probably maybe couldn't see it on the camera, maybe, or even maybe if you're watching the match, you mightn't have known how strong it was. That anytime we had a kick out, like, it was a strong wind to get past, like, and to break their kind of press and stuff. So any scores that kept it down the other end of the pitch for any few minutes were really important for us, just to try and kill the momentum and stop them from doing any damage on the other side. So we were delighted really to go in at halftime, point down. Yeah, so it was important. Like, yeah.
I was said at the break. So, like you said, you were 1 point down, not after playing as well as you could have, after surviving that Donny storm in the first quarter and knowing that you'd have the wind in the second half. So, what was said in the dressing room?
Look, we just said that I think a lot of our scores in the first half had come from our own kind of turnovers, like kicking the ball away or bad passes or just running into trouble and things like that. So we just had to move the ball a bit better, hold on to the ball and just take our chances then when they came. We were just giving them too much ball, and they were a very good counter-attacking team. Like so, we just had to stop that. And in fairness, every fella did that in second half. We didn't have many turnovers at all really in second half, and we defended well then as well on the other side. So we could kind of counter-attack as well at times. So kind of just fell into place for us then in the second half. But just the use of the ball really, and just keeping the head really was the main thing.
You know, David Buckley with his 9 points got man of the match, but a word too for the Newcestown defence. So much was made in the build-up, and rightly so, up that down his full forward line. Keith White, Fionn Hurley, Mark Buckley done so well against Knocknagree. I think Fionn kicked 8 points that day alone. He kept him to 3 points in total, and Fionn Hurley and Mark Buckley didn't score at all. And Mark Buckley actually was taken off in the second half. Was that a real target for Newcestown to really stifle and suffocate that full forward line and not give those lads the room to manoeuvre? Because if they got space, they have the potential to wreak havoc.
Yeah, definitely. Like obviously we'd seen them all year. We played them in the first game. We'd seen them then in the semi-final as well, and a couple of other group games as well. Like they were doing serious damage all year, and it was a big thing that we were speaking about before the game. Like Fionn Hurley, like, is an unbelievable player, and God, he did wreck all together in semi-final. So like the lads that had man marking jobs like did super jobs. And in fairness, we said before the game like that it's just not going to be down to the one fella marking him, whoever that is. Like it's the other fellas as well will have to kind of cut out the space, as you said. Because if you give them space, like time and space in the ball, like they'll destroy you. But as a unit, I suppose we defended very well. Didn't leave any one-on-ones or anything like that really. Maybe after the first 15 minutes, we kind of tightened up small, but we didn't leave any one-on-ones. Always helping each other out, kind of second man in and things like that. And eventually, kind of, we started to get a few turnovers then and break out the field then ourselves. So yeah, in fairness to all the lads, like fellas that had the particular jobs, and then everyone else as well, you know, really defended well as a unit.
You feel as well, Luke, that your match fitness told in that second half. Donny's had only played, I think, 1 game in 9 weeks, the semi-final, whereas you're after, I think, six championship games after your last group football game. So you were battle hardened, you were match fit, and do you think that made a difference in the second half?
Definitely, yeah. Even in the hurling, like first halves, we were always kind of pouring off in the first half. Really, even go back to the hurling thing, you Cratloe, Killa. I'd say we were losing both those games at half time, and we knew in the second half then that we'd have the legs, or we'd have whatever just to keep going till the last few minutes. Same again in Donny's game. We knew like we were probably going to play better in the second half. We hadn't really played at all, and we had that match fitness and sharpness just to keep going till the very end. And like the game was very tight, still up to 10 minutes to go, like 5 minutes to go. There was a point maybe we probably just got ahead maybe with 10 minutes to go. And in fairness, the lads just kind of kicked on then for the last few minutes, maybe put us a couple of more ahead. But it was still tight all the way through, but we just kind of kicked on at the end, which, you know, it does pay a testament to what we've done throughout the year. The fitness and the match practice that we had really kind of helped us out in the end, yeah.
What's it like to play in a team, Luke, that has that winning mentality and that self-belief that you're going to get the job done? Because we've seen it in the last couple of weeks, whatever challenge was put in front of you, be it football or hurling, you found the answers and you passed the test. So what's it like just to be in a group like that, to have confidence in the fellow beside you because he knows what he's doing, but to have confidence that whatever's put in front of you, whatever hurdle, you're going to jump over it?
It's unreal, to be honest. I suppose it kind of just gives you a bit of calmness, really. Like you're not panicking if you go down by a few points, or if they get a goal, let's say maybe, or something like that. Like you're not going to panic. And like it's not always like that. Like we've had years when, you know, that hasn't been the case, and that when we go a goal down, we'll say, God, we're in trouble here now. Or maybe when we go a few points down, that, oh God, lads, we'll find it hard to get back from this. But this year, in fairness, everyone, you know, had the work done. Everyone was playing well. And as I said, like it's just no panic really. Like it's just keep playing ball by ball, and you can kind of focus on your own game and focus on just keep doing the basics right, and things will happen. Like it's just, yeah, a sense of calmness really is what it results in. Like
your coach Kevin Mulcahy put up a tweet on Saturday night. He said, for the team and club, 1% strategy, 99% culture, and that kind of stood out to me. It's almost, we all know about the culture in Newcestown, like you're famed for it. But is that just an important part of your identity, kind of that culture? It's almost that tradition passed down that we all know no one's ever going to get an easy game off Newcestown. You're never going to lie down. You're always going to go to the end. But there's a great culture in that club.
There is, like, yeah, and I suppose it kind of gets spoken about when we need it to really, like that we just, that we're never easily beaten, as you'd say. Look, it's kind of something we kind of pride ourselves on, really. I suppose that we keep going till the end. Like I suppose no matter who we're playing, like it's normally a tight game, whether we're the favourites or whether we're the underdogs. It's kind of nearly always a pretty tight game. Whatever way that turns out, but yeah, whoever we're playing, really, we just kind of keep going till the end. We kind of, and everyone knows like that no one's going to give up, and it's the way it should be, really. But yeah, it's testament to the players, really, like that. We have that trust with each other, like that. We're all going to keep going till the end, like.
And where does this achievement rank for you to captain your club, the county senior title?
It's top of the pile, really, I suppose. Like, to captain your club, obviously, is a great honour, like, but to get all the way then, like, and to be able to lift the cup at the end, and just to do it in this special year as well, like, between the hurling and the football, like, was extra nice, really. Yeah, so it is. Look, I got the lucky job, really, just lifting the cup, like, but fairness, like, the lads did all the work, like, and we kind of all rode in together, like, but just a proud moment, really, yeah, to be captain of the winning team, really, like, yeah.
You get part of that yourselves, and I have shown that it is possible for dual clubs to go well in both codes in the same year. Like, you both having incredible doubles, but is there, not saying a template for other dual clubs to copy, but it can be done, because you both shown it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. Like, obviously it's not easy. Like, I suppose ourselves in Ahbol, in fairness, did it this year. Like, but it doesn't happen every year. It doesn't happen most years. So it's not easy. But look, like, it's just we've a good set of players, like, that are fierce committed and have great spirit and drive in them. Like, keep training, to keep working hard, to keep putting in the hard work every day we go out. And that's what it simply is, really. Like, good players working hard and committed to the cause, whether it's hurling or football, like, and not coming up with excuses. Maybe there was other years that we were complaining about injuries and things like that, but, like, we had injuries this year as well, and we kind of got over them. But yeah, we just had a fierce, whatever, it all came together, really, this year, that we had a fierce good set of players and committed bunch, and just kind of it all worked out, really. I'm sure Ahbol are the same. They're probably saying the same thing, because I know they've nearly all dual players as well. So it's probably the same for them, yeah.
A word too for Tim Buckley. He told us after the game that he's stepping down. He wants to go out in a high. He said he took you down last year, but he's after bringing you back up now. So he thinks it's the right time to call it a day. But just a quick word on Tim Buckley and his role in this success.
Yeah, of course. Like, Tim, a fierce clubman, like, and did a great job, because I suppose, like, a lot of teams, I suppose, when they go down, at times it can be kind of a slippery slope, like, and if you don't maybe get straight back up or something like that, you might be stuck down there for a while, like. So in fairness, like, it's a great testament to Tim, like, that he's able to get the team straight back up. And as I said, like, it's no easy achievement, really, for that to happen, especially the way that we came down. I don't think there's too many teams that come straight back up. So it's a testament to Tim, really, to get us straight back up to Premier Senior, really, yeah.
What's your plan for the next couple of weeks? Are you back at the county training soon, or will you finally get that break you deserve after a long season?
Yeah, I'll get a few weeks off anyway, for sure. The lads are very good. Like I suppose these days there's so much kind of stats and analysis and technology, but in fairness, like, they're always kind of managing your load, even throughout the season with Cork. Like, they have the GPS and everything like that out. They're always managing your load, so they're not gonna flog you or anything like that. So yeah, I'm sure I get a couple of weeks off or whatever. And we try and be straight back into it then, just to get back to the lads then, yeah.
No doubt it'll be a good Christmas in Newcestown. The celebrations will be continued. But thanks so much, Luke, for your time. Congrats again on an incredible season for yourself and the club.
Thanks very much, Kieran. Thank you. Thanks.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
And welcome back to the Star Sport podcast. And Kieran, we have 6 pages of Senior A football final coverage for Newcestown fans in this week's Southern Stars. But what else can people look forward to this Thursday?
So it's a no-brainer for Newcestown fans and players and supporters, or anyone with any connection to the parish, to pick up Thursday Southern Star, because we have the best coverage of the of their Senior A Football Championship success. We also have great coverage of O'Donovan Ross's Munster Junior Football final win, as well as Haven beating Cratloe, and also a word for Clounmacon because they won in Munster as well. They beat Kilmahill of Clare, and they march on to the Munster semi-final, Munster Intermediate Club semi-final. So they're awaiting the winners of the Kerry Intermediate final that's on this weekend. It's David Clifford's Fossa against Milltown Castlehaven. And if it is Fossa that win, it'll be an interesting game for Clounmacon boss John Evans, because he actually managed Fossa a couple of years ago. And John Evans was the man who gave David Clifford his senior club debut. That was 6 years ago against a Kerry team called Ballymac. So we could have the John Evans derby in the Munster semi-final, but that's all dependent on Fossa beating a very good Milltown Castlehaven team. As well as that, we have a full page on the recent Island Rovers book launch. The club is celebrating 50 years in existence. They brought out a really, really good book. I have to say, I have to commend everyone involved in the production of this book. It's a top class production, a really good quality finish, and it's a great read as well. So we have all the news on Island Rovers' new book and details where you can buy it. So the perfect Christmas present for the Island Rovers fan in your life, or if you're just a GA fan in West Cork, I'd recommend this book as well, Dylan. It's really good. They put an awful lot into it.
309 pages as well.
Oh yeah, and it's just packed with pictures and info and the rise of the club from junior up to senior. And there's a chapter on the ladies section, and kind of flicking through the book, like you've Paul O'Donovan, when he was a young kid, he was at Island Rovers. There's a picture of him in there. You have Gavin Coombs and Liam Coombs at a cool camp there years and years ago. But it's a really good book. So I would certainly recommend it for any GA fans in West Cork. As well as that, we have the Munster Junior League Division 1 Rugby Roundup. Skibb won again. Clan left it late to win, but Bandon are still waiting on their opening league win of the year. Of course, we have the West Cork League Soccer and Schoolboys, School Girls Soccer. Also, Sean Holland has done a really good Q&A with Gavin Sheehan, the Dunmanway jockey. He rode his 700 career winner there the weekend before last. So Sean caught up with him. For the Q&As that matter, there's some great questions in there and some great answers as well. So that's well worth checking out. So there's something for everyone in Thursday's Southern Star as usual.
Absolutely. And all that will be available in shops across West Cork from Thursday morning. And as always, if you're further afield or can't make it to the shops, you can subscribe to the Southern Star and get it on your laptop, tablet or phone. So just head to subscribe.southernstar.ie, enter your details, and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week, along with full access to all the premium articles on our website as well. As always, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast, and thanks again to our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back again next week. Thanks for listening.